All right, our first guest this morning started a conversation on grief the last time she was on, and we've been talking about it ever since. Let's welcome back local psychologist, Dr. Amy Beth Taublieb, and continue that conversation of taking care of yourself as you grieve, what to do and what not to do.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
Great.
You know, I wanted to point out there is probably nothing. There is probably no worse experience for a human being to go through than grief. And I just wanted to throw out a few pointers in terms of what to do and what not to do. The first thing that people come to me and ask about is medication. What about antidepressant medication? And there is such a strong temptation to take that route. The problem being is that what medication does is it somewhat numbs you and it prevents you from experiencing the feelings, which on the onset feels so much better. And that's why it's so tempting. The issue with grief, though, is that although it feels a lot like it, grief is not depression. So unless you work your way through, you're not able to come to the end of it.
You know, that's interesting that you say the medication doesn't fix it. It just kind of masks it and makes you feel better, but you still have to deal with what you're going to deal with.
Exactly.
And you need to do that.
And it comes out in other ways. So again, I am not saying never take the medication route, but in most cases, that's not optimal.
Okay.
Second bit of advice I want to give is go on your own schedule. Don't listen when people say, you know, it's been 2 months. You know, it's been a year. You really should be blah, blah, blah. You need to give yourself permission to do what you need to do and to not do what you don't want to do. Within reason, of course. When you're feeling as if you want to start moving back into the world, back into your normal routine, you do it gradually. If you try to do everything at once, you're going to end up falling on your head. So be careful with that. If you find yourself doing too much too soon, it's okay to go backwards.
Right, okay.
You know what's good for you. So if you find yourself wanting to be alone, you give yourself permission to do that. What is useful, though, is to say, I need to be alone, but just once in the next 10 days, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Get back into things gradually. The key here, though, is do things at your own pace, on your own schedule, and don't let anyone, even if it's a dear, dear friend.
Yes, because people are well-meaning.
Oh, they are,
you need to come over. You don't want to be home alone on the holiday. You know.
You allow yourself to go at your own pace.
Does this same advice apply no matter how old you are or how young you are dealing with grief?
Definitely. The only thing we need to keep in mind is children deal with grief differently because children deal with everything differently. But again, there it's important for parents who know their kids better than anybody to set the timeline and to be flexible. Regardless of age, you can say, in 2 weeks, I'm going to start doing something.
Right.
In 2 weeks, if you're not ready, that's okay. Give yourself another 10 days.
You know, and we should mention to the audience too, Dr. T, that you are an expert when it comes to kids. You wrote the book, Adolescence from A to Z.
I did.
So, you know, I mean, so she knows what she's talking about when she talks about kids as well. Listen, if this has really triggered some information that you want more of, we're going to give you Dr. Amy Beth's office number. It's 834-1505, 834-1505, or log on if you'd like a dialogue with her to dramybeth.com. You'll be so glad you did.